Auch wenn es so gar nicht zu der Umgebung passt. In der heutigen Episode geht es um das Cross Keys Inn, dem ältesten mit Ried gedeckten Pub Irlands. Eröffnet wurde er schon im Jahr 1654. Er ist der Stammpub, oder das Stammpub? Wie heißt es richtig? Keine Ahnung. Der Stammpub. Fee meint der Stammpub. Als Englischlehrerin muss sie das wissen. Er ist der Stammpub von Colm, Scullion, dem Gastgeber für unsere Fotoreise 2020 im Mai. Wir haben ihn dir in der letzten Episode vorgestellt. Ich bin Chris, Reisefotograf und Podcaster, zusammen mit meiner Frau Fee. Sag Hallo Fee.
Hallo.
Englischlehrerin und Geschichtslehrerin. Dies ist unser Podcast Erlebnis Irland, unser Reiseführer, Fotografen und alle Irland-Fans.
Oh ja.
Abenteuer zum Hören, heute direkt live vom Strand in Spanien. Als Deutscher fragt man sich schon manchmal, warum ist dieser Pub am Ende von nirgendwo oder mitten in nirgendwo so populär? Er liegt an der Kreuzung zwischen, kann ich jetzt nicht lesen, Town Road zur
Port
Glennon Road. Irgendwo, wie gesagt, im Nirgendwo in Nordirland, circa 30 Autominuten von Belfast entfernt, wobei es in Belfast auch echt geile Pubs gibt. Ohne Auto kommt man da eigentlich nicht hin und ohne Auto laufen, ja, entweder fährt man also quasi mit den Pints intus oder aber man muss laufen oder fährt Taxi oder man kommt irgendwie gar nicht hin. Naja, okay, wie das die Iren handhaben, weiß ich nicht. Auf jeden Fall gibt es neben leckeren Pints of Guinness auch ein echt so starkes Ambiente. Also es ist alles noch sehr historisch und jede Menge Live-Musik. Also das ist ja für Irland so richtig typisch. Und man kann dort sehr viele Einheimische treffen. Sobald wir über die Türschwelle gegangen sind, waren wir sozusagen auf einer Zeitreise. Die hölzerne Decke aus dunklen, rußgeschwärzten Balken, von Generationen ausgetretene Steinböden und dazu noch Irish Folk. Das ist das, was so ein Pubbesuch eigentlich typisch macht. Und genau das findet man im Cross Keys Inn. Auch außen fällt gleich auf der linken Seite, wenn man davor steht, links von der gelben gestrichenen Eingangstür, da steht ein Wachturm. Oder ein Schutzturm, den man sonst nur von Kasernen her kennt. Der stammt noch aus Zeiten des Bürgerkriegs, weil hier gab es tatsächlich auch mal einen Anschlag, der Gott sei Dank nicht so richtig geklappt hat. Sonst hätten wir jetzt wahrscheinlich keine so geniale Bites, die wir uns anschauen können. Mehr dazu kann dir allerdings Melanie und Fee sagen im Interview, das jetzt kommt. Also viel Spaß dabei.
It's about hidden gems in Ireland, North Ireland. So
Excellent.
he said your pub is one of those hidden gems.
Yes. Very good. Well, I'll have to listen then. If I just type that in, would you come up? If that's
Sure.
the name of your podcast is
Yeah,
Hidden
sure.
Gems.
Sure.
All right, I'll write that down right now because I have a terrible memory, like every other mother. Whenever you have a kid, you lost 8% of your brain capacity, and that last child of mine took all my brain capacity.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I swear. I waited too long. I had kids too late. That's what happened. Should have had them earlier, they say. They might be right. Oh, sorry, Pat. Sorry. Well, this pub here was, we actually had it, we were able to get it dated. To 1654 was the date we were given. There was a beam that broke in this section here. We're lucky enough that this whole section of the pub, thatch and all, is all still original. So what you would find is just layer upon layer upon layer. When you do a rethatch of the building, as you can see, we've recently had one done. They don't take the old thatch off. They actually keep the same. You know, they take off a bit of a layer but go right over the top of it. So when that beam broke, we had to replace it with a steel beam because the thatch was actually approximately 7 foot deep. He nearly has another foot on it, so the weight of that snapped one of the beams up above. The beams that are in the roof space are actually, they're not, you know, terribly straight honed beams. They're actually trees that grew in the shape that was necessary. So they felled the trees and they're pegged together with wooden pegs. There's not any nails used in the construction, not any metal. So when that beam broke, we replaced it with the steel beam, and we were able to take a cross section of the one that came out. And my husband took it to Queen's University and he dropped it off, and within half an hour they were ringing to find out where did he get this piece of wood at. And he said, I told you I was going to give you, you know, a bit of wood to, if you could help date the property, because the written records only went back, that's a great photograph there, a great photo. The written records only went back to 1740. Yep. And we weren't able to trace it back really any farther, maybe 1680, something of that description. So when we gave them the piece of wood through radiocarbon dating and a process called dendrochronology, which takes into account the growth rings, the growth in every year can be matched with rainfall records. So they were able to give us the median date of 1654 plus or minus 5 years. Yep. So it's like I say, we're like that, and that, you know, is in line with what the radiocarbon dating was able to give them as well. And like I say, it's just that it's all the written records would say this is a noted public house. So as far back as that, it always was a pub. It was a pub among other things, as you know, things, you know, it could have been a grocer's, and it was definitely a coaching stop between Belfast and Derry. You know, so they did a changeover of horses or watered horses here, and people stayed here and then continued on with their journey. So, you know, that's like I say, that's all in the written records itself. But because it said noted public house, it means it actually has always existed probably as a pub. And, you know, like I say, it'll be 365 years old next year. So it's quite a big accomplishment. It is what it is, and it's part of the community. And obviously nobody living here, you know, doesn't remember it being here because it's always been here. So, and like I say, and it still would be quite a meeting spot for the local community. We have a lot of people that come in every day just to read the papers and drink a cup of coffee, you know, and that's really, you know, what it's all about. It's its own entity, if you know what I mean, and we're just lucky enough to be able to own it at this time, and that's the way we look at it, you know.
How long do you own it already?
My husband purchased the property in 2001, so it was 17 years. Yeah. So and prior to that, it was owned by a gentleman named Eamon Stinson. And his father before him owned the pub, so it was in the family for quite a long time, his family. Now there's several different families that ran the pub as well and owned it. John Kennedy was maybe one of the longer owners, and also some of the local family, McKeevers, owned it for a wee while as well. So you have, you know, there's just a real community sense about the place, you know. So it's very good. Like I say, we're lucky enough to own it for this time, you know. And I say it'll be here when we're not here. So, you know, we're very proud of it, and it's just that little piece of history that's not, you can't duplicate it. You know, it is what it is, and like I say, we just try to make the very best of it. So
yeah.
Right.
Is there a day you're not open?
No, we're open 7 days a week. You don't open on Good Friday until 5 p.m. So that's the shortest day we have. So Good Friday, 5 p.m. till say 10 o'clock. You're open for that day, but no, we are open 365 days a year. And like I say, from our opening hours are 11:30, and you know, our closing hours would be, you know, what, 12:30 or 12 o'clock, probably most evenings. And then our weekend we have an entertainment's license, because this is a very notable traditional music venue. So because the entertainment that's provided by the traditional musicians, we have what's called a late license, and that allows us to, you know, really close for 1 a.m. where most bars would be closing for 12, so we're quite lucky in that respect as well. Really good traditional music following within the area, and like I say, many people come here just to be able to say that they have played in here, and that's fantastic. So and that helps as well with the, you know, we get a lot of tourism, you know, a lot of people stopping by. you know, a lot of people looking just a little bit of entertainment, and we're lucky enough that the musicians that come in are able to provide that. Yeah.
Do you have pub food?
No, we don't. We actually don't have a kitchen here. If we did have an event, if somebody wanted to schedule an event, we can always organize outside catering, and we have done that in the past for several different functions. But no, not at the moment. We don't have food.
Yeah. Do you have weddings here too?
Oh, we would. We would have weddings, and again, that would require, like I say, outside catering, and that's normally sorted, you know, by the families themselves, you know, that you know, that are holding the event. What we would tend to get, maybe more so, is after the wedding event, because people come from far and wide to attend the wedding, the families always seem to want to take all their relatives to a real traditional pub, and in that respect we would organize an evening for them with music, with maybe, you know, we do sandwiches every Saturday night. That's say whenever, or any night we have a big group of people in, we would tend to do sandwiches at the end of the evening anyway, you know, just, you know, free of charge, mind you, for all the patrons that come in and the musicians that come to play. So like I say, a lot of times, because people have come from so far to attend different weddings and things, they want to give them a real authentic, you know, Irish experience. And like I say, we would get a lot of parties like that way, and they do tend to be associated with weddings. So, yeah.
Do you have any anecdotes playing here in that pub?
Any
anecdotes, like little stories?
Oh, about playing in the pub, or
about people in the pub?
About people in the pub. we have quite a large group of characters that frequent this pub, but I would say, no, you would, if you went up into that room there, like, you'd not, you know, everybody's very friendly, very open, you know, would speak to you really as if you always lived here. I say we're very lucky in that respect. The customers are fantastic and very welcoming to people that come here. Oh, everybody has characters, but I just really couldn't narrow it down to one, because there's so many of them. But like I say, I'm sure your host there, Colm, will be able to to fill you in on one or two of them. But like I say, we're fortunate because it's such a small community, you know, and kind of a rural feel to it. When people do come here and strangers do come here, they're made to feel very welcome. And like I say, that again, like, just, you know, helps us in the respect, in terms of a business, it helps us very much that everybody's very welcoming to everybody that comes here. You know, it actually really shows the pub in a very good light, and I would say we're very fortunate to have that. And I say our customers, you know, our everyday local customers are the core of our business, and like I say, they don't let us down in that respect. You know, they're fantastic, and like I say, are always very welcoming to everybody that comes in.
Is there a local drink people should try?
Well, I would have to recommend the Pint of Guinness.
Yeah.
For I have heard from, and they're not biased, I have heard from several people that it's probably one of the best pints of Guinness they've ever had, so I could only recommend that. So, and I would know myself by the number of pints we sell in the week, it would be our most popular drink, and I would highly recommend that if you haven't tried it just yet.
Okay.
Well, we'd like to say you're very welcome to the Cross Keys Inn. It's Tombridge, County Antrim. The area we're actually located in, the townland of Ardnaglass, and the pub has been here since 1654. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah, that's fine.
The owner is Vincent Hurl, and he's actually from County Derry, and let me see, where's he from? He's from Blochy in County Derry, and has owned the pub for 17 years. But the pub has been, like I say, here for 365 years next year, so it's very much, like I say, a part of the community.
So you will have a jubilee next year?
We will have a jubilee. I just was saying that to my husband tonight. We'll have to have a drink special on every day, you know, all 365 days. So, and it could be £3.65. So we'll have to do that. We'll have to find something really good and expensive and cut the price to £3.65.
It would be good.
It would be great, wouldn't it? Just, it would be fantastic. So no, we'll have to have we'll have to have something to celebrate it now. And I say we're lucky enough to what's really kind of brought us up into the, you know, into a bit more you know, high profileness, you know, not just so much with our social media. My husband handles all the social media and is very, you know, is quite, you know, proficient at it. But last year we actually won the BBC Country File Country Pub of the Year. And it was the first time there was ever a pub from Northern Ireland in the running for it. And we were fortunate enough to have won that that award. It's actually the one that's in right above the till there, that's in the piece of wood there. Country File is quite a large it's a television program, but it's also a magazine, and it deals really with rural farming life and just, you know, in the UK itself. So we were lucky enough to have won that, and that was to be voted on by your clientele. So I said, I think my husband's social media reach is very good, and that helped us a lot. But like I say, again, it goes back to your local clientele and the people that really push you, and they got all their friends to vote for it, and that's really, we actually won with a general population vote, which I thought was fantastic for us. And also this year, my husband has won the Licensed Catering News, one of the top 100 hospitality venues in Northern Ireland as well. So that's a fantastic award as well. And so, like I say, it's just, we're just build and build and build. We don't particularly go in for awards because it's more about running your business and running it right. We're not, sometimes the awards can be a bit skewed and a bit biased and things. And it was important when we won that Country File award because, like I say, that was voted on by the public. It wasn't a drinks company that you buy from that, you're put into it and then you win because you buy so much drink off them. It wasn't something like that. So, and that's what I say, that one was very important. And he's very choosy about what categories he would put the pub into. And this is really only the first year he's bothered to put the pub forward for these kind of awards. So, because I think he felt maybe prior to that, we just, not that we weren't ready for it, but you really do have to be geared for that. You have to be geared for, the what would you call it, the mystery shopper that comes in, and to be sure that your staff is all properly trained and they give everybody the same welcome, when they come through the doors. And that's what you have to do. You have to be sure you're on your top game, because there's no point in not being on your top game when you come in here, when you have people come in here to view you for the first time. You know yourself, it's all about first impressions. The building itself gives a fantastic first impression, lovely. But your hospitality has to back that up, and I think and hopefully, and I do believe our staff can do that. And like I say, our customers can do it, or our customers can do it the very best, for they're fantastic. So, yeah.
What is your favorite piece of history in here? You have quite a lot of
there's a lot of different things. Yeah, well, I would have to say the lamps. And in the area that you're sitting in, called the kitchen, there's a large collection of oil lamps, and there's one that sits in the back that's turquoise, and it's not even the most expensive one, but to me it's the loveliest one. So I would have to say that's my favorite. That's definitely my favorite thing.
It looks nice.
Oh, it is. It's lovely. They're lovely.
Yeah. So it's really cool pub.
But the Cross Keys Inn was the only other picture that was used by Tourism Ireland, and it was used in more of the publications around the world than any of those other three, and it was a privately owned business, and I think people kind of took exception to that as well. But that's what, when somebody thinks of Ireland, in all honesty, that's what they think of. That's what they want.
Yeah, they want to have the homey atmosphere of the pub.
They want the hominess, and it's not that everybody drinks and everybody wants a pub. It's not that. It's the crack, it's the chat, it's the... like you say, it's the atmosphere, it's the good time, it's and like I say, the hominess, the fire, the coziness. That's what they're looking, and I'd say that's why that ad campaign was so. I had a man bring me the copy of it out of the LA Times. He says, he says, I couldn't wait to come here to show you this. I got this in Los Angeles. And we didn't really know how far-reaching the campaign was. I said, you never know. And it's fantastic. I said that we're very lucky. And like I say, that I would say my husband Vincent is very selective in what he allows, the business to be used for. And I think rightly so, because you can be too overexposed and it takes away from the uniqueness of it. It can become too, what would you call it? People here call it twee. It could become too overused and too commercialized, and then it tends to lose its authenticity. I think if you go too hard down that promoting yourself route, I think you really lost the genuineness of a place. And he's very particular about how this place is portrayed in print or any other way. So no, he's quite particular. He was really good too. I have to say, I have to give him credit for this as well. As we had the building rethatched recently, as you can see the new layer of it. It's a good bit brighter than the one underneath. And I suppose he's thinking to the future as well in that respect. He actually filmed a lot of that. It had a live feed, so people all over the world could watch it. Oh, Good girl. Good girl. No bother. And then he actually has a gentleman who's videoed it as well, and videoed the process of it for.
That's cool.
Because he said that he'll probably never get a dog again in his lifetime. That is, look at you drinking beer. Beer. Good girl.
Getting big breasts. It's just like the foam.
Just the foam. You're on your arm. But no, so I say that's fantastic. And there's another gentleman that actually tends to make videos that deal with kind of, what would you call it, like a lost traditions or lost rural traditions, you know, like the older ways of farming, and he makes videos, and he actually came and did a bit on that as well. So no, it's fantastic. So see, it's like you say, like a hidden gem. It's going to become a lost art, the art of thatching, you know, because the people were thatchers because their father was a thatcher. You know, it's like somebody that made, you know, maybe was a cooper and made barrels. You know, they did that because their father did that, or they made, you know, pans or pots and pans. That's what you're blacksmiths. You know, those sort of lost traditions and lost trades. And just the fellow that was our thatcher this time, he has no children, so there's nobody to come in behind him. Nobody to train unless he can take somebody on and show them. But his father was a thatcher, and his brother's a thatcher, and he's a thatcher. And it's going to stop with him. And like I say, it's sad too. It's sad, you know, to see that, because like, who's going to do it the next time?
Yeah, sure.
No. We had to wait 2 years on him. He's that busy. You know, we had to wait 2 years to get him to get that sorted. So, you know, it's not an easy, you know, it's not an easy trade to find somebody. It's not like a painter, or, you know.
Yeah, you can't even find a painter probably.
No, but Thatchers just aren't a dime a dozen anymore. They're getting harder and harder to get, and that's just the way everything goes, isn't it? You know. So, but I hope you enjoy your time here.
One little question more. Yes. What is your favorite site here in territory?
My favorite
site
in Ireland, all
around here.
Around here, my favorite site around here. I would have to say, I was going to say the Cross Keys. No, you mean like my favorite place to go visit, or I'm always working. I don't know what's my favorite place to go or my favorite thing to do. Well, I tell you, there's a lovely walk. There's a lovely walk up by Mahara, and funny, I just don't know the exact name of it, but it's a mountain. It's a mountain walk, and I would have to say that's probably my favourite. It just, when you get to the top of it, you could nearly see to Scotland. You're that high up. It's absolutely fantastic. Colm would know the exact name of it because he's the one that actually took us on that walk, and it was beautiful. Fantastic.
I think you went there. It was the sweat house. The Celtic sweat house was there.
Maybe it was. Was there? Maybe it was. Sorry. Yeah. You go way up to the end and you nearly come to like a dead end of a road, and then oh Jesus, it's gorgeous. Absolutely love that. That and the Slemish is lovely, but I've never been to the top of Slemish. That's actually quite a lovely. It's a beautiful view and all. But in all of Ireland, I think my favourite place is Benbulben, and that is in Sligo, and it's probably the most dramatic, you know, land formation ever. And if you get a chance to see that, as you head out of Bundoran down towards Sligo, you'll see a cliff edge, and it just is a very sharp edge, you know, and you look off at it in the distance, and it's absolutely fantastic. And it's probably the most striking, you know, I think land formation in all of Ireland. I know everybody has, you know, different things they like, but the last time we went by it, and I'd never seen it before, it was all covered in snow, and I'd never seen snow on it, and it just looked, you know, even more amazing than it normally does in the green and sunshine. So I would have to say now that's my very favourite Benbulben. So.
Cool. Thank you very much for your attention and for giving us the interview.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you stopping in.
Yeah, and when we finish the podcast, we will send a link to you.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. Perfect. Well, I'll get you. I'll get you.
If you have a business card.
I don't have any of his business cards with me, but I do have that there.
A flyer.
That's
great.
That there has his email address on. Let me just see. Cross keys in. No, that's not the right one. He has a different. Oh, I think his is different. I'll write it on this anyway. Maybe it's info. I think it's info. Info at
Cross keys.
Yeah. Cross keys. That's just a dash. That's a .com one. That's in there. That's just a wee. Yeah.
Cool.
That's fantastic. Very good.
Perfect.
Lovely.
So, jetzt hoffe ich, dass dir diese Episode gefallen hat. Und besonders freut es mich, dass du dir die Zeit genommen hast, um uns zuzuhören, um mit uns eine kleine Reise auf die grüne Insel zu machen. Wenn du Lust bekommen hast und dir den Cross Key Pub selbst anschauen willst, dann komm doch einfach mit uns zu unserer Fotoreise am Mai oder im Mai 2020. Da werden wir uns dort sicher ein- oder zweimal mit den Einheimischen auf ein Guinness treffen und uns die Live-Mucke anhören. Weitere Infos zur Fotoreise findest du auf unserer Homepage erlebnis.irland, fotoerlebnis.eu, Entschuldigung, oder auf Erlebnis, das wollte ich eigentlich sagen, erlebnisirland.eu. Die Shownotes findest du ebenfalls auf unserem Blog erlebnis-irland.eu. Wenn du auf dem Laufenden bleiben willst, dann abonniere doch einfach unseren Podcast auf iTunes oder Spotify. Oder, noch besser, gib uns eine gute Werbung oder eine gute Rezension. Sollte es ein Thema geben, das dich interessiert und über das wir einmal berichten sollen und einen Beitrag machen, dann schick uns einfach eine Nachricht oder eine E-Mail. Also bis ganz, ganz bald. Dein Chris und Fee.